Pamberine ZANU-PF. Pamberine ZANU-PF.
Taiona moto marongera vanoita wepanyika vanoda kuti vamwe tioneswe moto dai pasina kupindira kwaishe vechokwadi pasi pano taiona moto marongera vanoita wepanyika vanoda kuti vamwe tioneswe moto.
ZANU-PF has just concluded its elective congress just a few meters away from the studio. At that congress, they re-elected, or endorsed rather, because there was no voting, but they did endorse President Emmerson Mnangagwa, their first secretary, as president and sole candidate of the 2023 general elections. Now, they are moving to mobilize. They are moving to ensure that President Emmerson Mnangagwa completes or actually gets his second term and final term according to the Constitution of Zimbabwe. Now, on the situation right now, we are going to be discussing the road to 2023. We are going to be talking politics, election, the economy, with one man who was a staunch critic of ZANU-PF and Emmerson Mnangagwa to the extent of being militant. He was arrested, but now he is a delegate, a guest at the ZANU-PF Congress, and he supports President Emmerson Mnangagwa. Join me just after this break on The Situation Right Now with me, your host, as usual, Dara B, on Heart and Soul TV and radio. Welcome back to The Situation Right Now, and we're just going to be looking at the insights of Zimbabwean politics with one man, one staunch critic, former staunch critic of ZANU-PF and President Emmerson Mnangagwa, the man who saw his Damascus moment. He's going to tell us how he found it. Tinashe Jonasi is joining me here, Dara B, to have this conversation. Thank you very much, Tinashe, for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Beautiful. Now let's just start from the beginning. You were a staunch critic of Emmerson Mnangagwa, the president of Zimbabwe, and ZANU-PF, the ruling party. But you are adorned in the colors of ZANU-PF today. What happened?
Okay. First, maybe I will start with my brief history. I was in management of MDC Trangirai Executive. Yeah, I was managing Teresa Makoni, 3 portfolios. One, she was a member of parliament. Secondly, she was the chairwoman for what they call Women Assembly. Thirdly, she was the co-minister of Home Affairs. So I was managing the 3 portfolios. So you can imagine, her husband Ian was the manager to Morgan Trangirai. And I was managing, the Women Assembly is the biggest structure in any party in Zimbabwe because women are more. So you can then imagine my radicalization, my political orientation, and our mantra was Mugabe must go, ZANU-PF must go. So that was my brief history. So forming my party was more of I want to remove ZANU-PF.
So when did you see the light that ZANU-PF is the real deal? Because you are backing ZANU-PF now.
All right. To come to such a conclusion, it's not by flash of in a flash of a second. There are so many processes actually. So I will mention a few key. The first one, I think, when you are very brave, maybe in Zimbabwe, you are going to realize how we don't have men here in this country. We've got cowards. If they are men, maybe they are gays. That's the first realization. The second, that people, they don't know what matters much. If my TT has got a live, you'll see over 20,000 watching. Do a live talking about business. Talk about things that matter. My TT is obviously comedy. And talk about business. If you reach 300 people watching you, that's something else. That'll be a Guinness Book of Records. And Jinimbi, may his soul rest in peace. If he passes on in Harare, the city shuts down. Social media shuts down. And then you look at the history, the legacy. And then maybe the so-called pro-democracy activist is arrested. Check if the city would shut down. So far we've got Job Scholar is in prison. Look if the city is disturbed because he's arrested. Life is normal. So that shows you that people are more into clownish lifestyle. They are funnies. They don't care. They don't care what matters most. So if you risk your life, you risk everything for clowns. It means you are made. And then the other issue is we talk about Tai Zamara, that he died, whatever happened to him. Obviously I don't have much detail, but you are a journalist. How many people you meet that are even eco-cashing the wife to sustain and kids? Those who are pro-democracy, who are activists or who doesn't like ZANU-PF. Very few. Not even sending an eco-cash. Just having Tai Zamara's number. There are very few people in opposition that have it in their phone. Now, what are we talking about then? And now we talk about Job Scholar, the wife's number. Very few comrades would bother knowing whether they've eaten or the kids are going to school. So now, and then I was also in prison, almost a year in Zimbabwe, and the people, I will say this story for the first time. I had lawyers for human rights. And when I was arrested, I got bail. And after I got bail, my lawyers were visiting me regularly. When I got bail, they never came. They never showed up. They never bothered to tell me that I got bail. I was granted bail for 7 days. So now imagine you are being represented by lawyers for human rights and you get bail, and they don't even tell you. And you are told by fellow prisoners who were in High Court that you got bail, and you are not even sure because your lawyers are nowhere to be found. So you stay extra 7 days. Your lawyers are phoning your relatives and friends, soliciting money of bail when there was a provision in their organization to pay your bail. But they're trying to hustle. And you stay extra 7 days. That's the other aspect. And then it was my mom, my lawyers visiting me. Not even my relatives. They were even scared. You visit him, maybe uchatevererwa. Wara. So you ask yourself, why is you in prison? Are you doing this for yourself? Are you doing this for the country? There are so many in Pretoria. Someone who was my /driver / bodyguard called me for lunch, to take me out for lunch, and unbeknown to me, he had arranged for my abduction. But fortunately, I dodged the pepper spray, and it affected the driver. So then it ended up me being beaten up and not being taken away. So the truth is, if you are fighting ZANU-PF and you are honest in fighting ZANU-PF, then you are honest in doing something that no one is really interested in. Those who join you, they are joining you because they make money. People in opposition are making money. Those who are not making money, they are being brainwashed by those who are making money.
So you were making money when you're in opposition?
Okay, fine. I was not making money because if you make money, obviously, even your security, first thing, you beef your security. So if my bodyguard can be bought to take me out, to sell me out, then it shows you that there was no money. So those who are making money, they've got security.
So you decided to join ZANU-PF because you felt that as you were fighting ZANU-PF, no one was backing you up.
All right, that was one of the factors. But the major factor is people I actually call them cash-vists. People who are so much opposing ZANU-PF. I did the research, my personal research, and I concluded that the people who are fighting ZANU-PF, they are fighting ZANU-PF combining a list of donors.
Is that what you were doing because you were fighting ZANU-PF?
But I'm going to. So
can you answer that part? Is that what?
No, no one has got a record of me having money.
So why do you think others are getting money while you are not?
Thank you. Why am I saying they are making money? Because when you honestly fighting ZANU-PF, they don't back you up. So we can be 5 here and we are fighting ZANU-PF, but when one is in trouble, the other 4 or 3 would stay away. If we are fighting ZANU-PF, all of us, it means we have got a common agenda that must bind us to be one group. But honestly speaking, Job Scala right now is being rejected by his own. That's the truth. And if he doesn't understand that, it's a problem. It's his own problem.
What would you rather should be done to help Job Scala?
All right. Although I want to direct his political movie, or story, but I will talk from my own experience. You don't need to fight a system as an individual. It's either you fight a system as a system, or you join the system and engage the system.
So you have joined to engage it?
It's better to engage because how do you fight a system as a person, as an individual? One person, even to fight 20 people, it's not easy. So sometimes what we call, leadership, you don't need to be brave. You need wisdom to be a leader. So when you are brave and you are insulting the president, you are doing this, it's a good show for social media. Views and people saying, hey, but what is the end game? What is the result? Was it? If I make so much noise in social media, at the end of the day, it must change people's lives. But if it doesn't, I should review my political journey. And besides, the person called Emerson Mnangagwa, I didn't know him personally.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know him, but I learned, one of the reasons why I joined ZANU-PF is that I've learned now in my politics the difference between opinion and facts. Emerson Mnangagwa was in Bukura Wunti, was in this, was this. There's a lot so much about him. But now, one day I sat down and say, okay, this is Emerson Mnangagwa. What do I know for a fact that I can stand with it, even in court, that this is my evidence that Emerson Mnangagwa is 1, 2, 3, 4. I was alone and I wanted to write down the things that even if I can be a Supreme Court judge or a High Court judge and Emerson Mnangagwa is in the box, I can prosecute him with. So we've got so much hate in our politics that opinions are taken as facts. And to me, comparing the late Comrade Robert Mugabe's rule and Emerson, I find it doing way better in terms of the drive to make Zimbabwe better. Of course, to me, he took the presidency when the country was in tatters, and to me, he's doing well. Given 10 years, I think Zimbabwe can be better positioned than other countries without sanctions and everything. So to me, because Zimbabwe mustn't be good because I'm the president. Zimbabwe must be good because my party is in power. If I so much, because patriotism means the love of your country, not the love of power.
Let me stop you there. You say that you didn't know the president, Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, that much. Now you know him. But in your introduction, you told us that you were at a management level, at that highest level of the MDCT led by Morgan Tsvangirai.
Yes.
And you're managing portfolios of a person who was a co-minister of Home Affairs, who was the leader of the Women's Assembly, and a member of parliament. And at that level, you didn't have information of a very powerful political figure then, Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa.
Okay. The information, you know what, I'll be honest with you. The way the Triple C or ZANU-PF or MDC is more on hearsay, is more on opinions. The policy, the strategy, formulation, implementation is on hearsay.
How long were you in the MDC?
Okay. I think for almost over 5 years. I never joined the party. I never officially joined the party. I was not a member of the party. I joined Teresa Makone's team as a manager.
You were manager for 5 years?
No, I'm saying I was never an official member of the party.
Yes.
I never had a card. I'm saying my association with MDC was at management level. It was not or as a member.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You were at management level for like about 5 years.
Yes.
And you were managing a group, or you're managing systems that were being run on rumor and hearsay. Yeah,
okay. The thing is, let's say you are employed as a driver. You are given a car to drive. You are told rules. If you are told to drive at 20 kilometers per hour, you can't go beyond that. Obviously, a party must be informed by research, scientific research, for you to formulate and implement policy. But now, in MDC, the truth is ZANU-PF must go, ED must go, and then demonstrations. And what else? Maybe dramatization of whatever it is, especially if there's a important visitor, international visitor. If there's maybe United Nations conference, whatever it is, or maybe there's a sanctions review, maybe it's after a year, the 2 months before. Whenever there are important events, to choreograph something.
You genuinely believe this?
I'm not genuinely. I was part of that.
So you're telling us that the pictures of Morgan Tsvangirai standing next to Love Maduku at Harare Central Police, and his head cracked after he had been beaten to national prayer, that was drama?
No. Get me right.
Because this also happened towards one of those events.
No. Get me right. The dramatization was in multiple folds. The first was pure drama, where things are created fictiously and everything. Second was to know the behavior of ZANU-PF. That if you do this, ZANU-PF would react this way. Are you getting my point? For example, maybe if you demonstrate, or maybe if you do any mass gathering where you hit them hard, they're going to react by this. So it was not always dramatization that ends with nothing. But for example, you know that if you go to the street now and demonstrate without maybe the permission, the riot police is going to come. But the cameras are rolling, they are ready, So sometimes the injury is real, but the planning and motivation of that action was in anticipation of a certain expected ZANU-PF behavior or reaction.
During your time, can you just share with me maybe just one event that was dramatized that you still remember vividly?
Okay. What can I say? Yeah, I'll go to my archives. But basically, okay. Although I was taken off guard, but the thing is, especially the issues of there were real abductions, for example. But on that, I won't say the names now because unfortunately, some things when you mention people, they can hold some implications, legal or whatever. But I'll give you an example. For example, I'll declare here officially that on record that people like Joanna Mamombe, who else? They were trained in Livingstone. It's called what this one? This Livingstone Hotel. This guy called Pop Fik whatever from Serbia. I've got some people I know that I can't mention just now, even who are who I know who are friends who were part of the training. So people were being trained even in abductions, how to carry it on, and I've got a list of names that sometimes if for legal reasons I can't just say many, but the people were trained and how to do an abduction. So I won't just mention a lot because what can I say? There can be something which can be carried out that can pass as an abduction or something.
You're saying they're trained on how to abduct people?
No, how to stage an abduction and how to deny an election. Okay, actually how to push people into an uprising, like what happened in Tunisia, the Arab Spring, what revolution. Yeah, that was purely the same training that the Triple C or MTC people got in Zambia. And I won't know other trainings, but I've got the Zambia one that can be proven whether they are traveling or whatever. So those were trainings. Like, let me tell you, like when Chamisa is rejecting the results that the election is rigged, let me show you how it is systematically done. We have got names on Chamisa who would tell you that they are okay. It starts with the reforms. We want reforms. That's A. Election reforms. And then go to the second gear of saying without reforms we might not participate. They are psychologically inciting people. Now the supporters are given the chance that without reforms we won't participate. Eventually there is go register to vote. A campaign again. We want reforms, A. B. We might not participate in a shame election. And then the same people would go back to supporters and say, register to vote. And then the same supporters are with the narrative that the election is being rigged by ZEC. But they will be told again to register and vote. In the rural, in the urban. If you see, it doesn't make sense already. And before election, they would announce that the election is only be free and fair. Because maybe there are no reforms. But the same people, when the results, they say it's by-election, they say there are 20 by-election, maybe they win 15. They will never talk about rigging. You score 15 out of 20 by-election. No, the mantra of rigging is quiet. But when they think the result is not favorable, they will come to support us and say, we are rigged. If you follow that script nicely, you will see that it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But the people, because they are hypnotized, in Triple C, they are not allowed to think. They are not given a chance to discuss or to think. If you talk like you support government or you support ZANU-PF, you are insulted. Why are they? It's part of hypnotization. They don't question Chamisa. You never see in a WhatsApp group or Facebook or social media where the supporters of Triple C question their leadership. Why don't we have structures? Why we don't have this? Well, they don't question and debate and resolutions, whatever. No.
You actually believe the things that you are saying.
I believe to someone who can think at a basic level, not at a scientific level. would follow what I'm saying and see it makes sense.
I have seen a lot of people critique Nelson Chamisa.
Okay.
Some from his party. I've seen that. I have seen and heard Nelson Chamisa after the March 26 by-elections, where they won 19 seats, at a press conference, actually saying we have won, but the election was not free and fair. And there was a lot of rigging and vote by, and we are demanding for reforms. And I do have a clip of him saying that. So this is why I'm asking you this question. Do you actually believe what you say?
Let me say this to you. Opochimono, when he criticizes Chamisa, he has been insulted so many times in that he made a U-turn. If you go to his social media platforms and see where he was criticizing the leadership, he was being insulted and make a U-turn. Secondly, for Chamisa to say the election was not free and fair, look again. I don't know whether you are also hypnotized or not, but I want to believe you are still sober because you are intelligent. Look, an election, by-election is just concluded. And although I can't say the percentage that Chamisa won, but you have benefited more in terms of the results, more than the ruling party. But you are saying we've won, and come back again and say the election was not free and fair. That is too unique to Zimbabwe. Throughout the world, winners, they don't condemn the electoral processes. Throughout the world. Because you can't condemn an electoral process that made you a winner. But
HH did that.
Wait, I'm coming there. No, wait, I'm coming there.
I just want us to be factual before.
HH is a friend of Chamisa. That's the first thing. They are friends. Now, I don't want to call them a club or a society, but they are friends. And now, when you condemn an electoral process that makes you a winner, maybe you need an electoral body that makes you a winner at 100%. When you win out of 100 votes, you gain 100 votes, and your opponent gets 0. I think that's the level you would appreciate.
I wanted us to talk about the issue where you say people are brainwashed.
Yeah.
Is it an opposition political thing, or it's a Zimbabwean political space thing? Because the same thing that you were talking about, me sitting here, I would, without you mentioning names, I would think that you're talking about ZANU-PF. Because I stood at ZANU-PF headquarters. And the entire structures of ZANU-PF were sitting there, chanting Pasi, ED, Boda Jamba, Chichi, and he had fled to South Africa. In less than a week, the same people who were chanting Pasina ED, Boda Jamba, were now saying Pasina Robert Mugabe, Pamperina ED, new dispensation. Is that a sign of people who think?
Okay. Although I was not part of that congregation you were with chanting, and I'm not their spokesperson, but I will try to use my own opinions. The fact that people can condemn someone and come back to see the good in him, it's a sign that they are not brainwashed. When you are brainwashed, you see no evil, you see no good. Sorry, either you see no good or you see no evil. Let me give you those two scenarios are different with Chamisa. Chamisa's people, they see him good throughout, all seasons, all weather. And they seek the good in him that is backed with no evidence, no nothing. So ED was fired by the man who was the most powerful in the party in the country. So at that moment, obviously, all systems were being controlled by him. And he would turn the goalposts, he would turn everything, the perceptions.
This is just one man turning the perceptions and thinking of everything.
No, I'm saying, get my point. The president of the party fired the vice president. Now, the supporters or party members would hear the reasons of him being fired by the president. They can't be in that meeting and understand why is he being fired. And because he was the most powerful person, he can change the reasons of why he was being fired, so that people think he was about to destroy the party. But now, when he was out of power, President Mnangagwa had no opportunity to say his story to the members, party members. He had no. So he was fired and he's gone. If his life was at risk. So in such a scenario, it was different like this. In this one hearing, someone is represented, the minutes are out there, that much you know. So he didn't have any opportunity to say his story. Only after, when the former president was gone, then the incoming president Mnangagwa had all the opportunity to explain to membership and everywhere, whether to clean his name or whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's not brainwashing.
You're so sure. I'll give you another example.
Which is wrong again. Bring
it. A day before, government said that the price of fuel will not go up. And there were statements, praises. Government is sensitive to the people, sensitive to the poor, and is doing the right thing. And in less than 24 hours, that policy changed and the government announced the increase of price of fuel. The same people who were supporting that also supported that change of policy in less than 24 hours.
All right. Thank you so much. Okay, let me say this to you. When people are pro-government, patriotism is the love of your country and your government. Because there's one government at any moment in any country. Unless we've got different governments, multiple governments in one country at one moment, like in Somalia, where warlords grab a certain province or place and become a president. And biblically, Zimbabwe is a predominantly a Christian country. Leaders are chosen by God. And I'm forgetting to quote the exact verse. In Zimbabwe, we have got a unique situation because of puppetry opposition. What is the unique situation? Your love and support of the government is perceived as a love of ZANU-PF. People, they don't understand a wide distinction between government and the ruling party. When a ZANU-PF member is employed as a minister and is in the government office, he is no longer a ZANU-PF. He is a government employee, a civil servant. When he goes to ZANU-PF meetings, whatever, he becomes a ZANU-PF. Now, when you love your government in Zimbabwe, you are perceived as, when you love your president as a state president. Well, some statements that the government are pronouncing, they are purely state statements. And remember, economy, if you understand economy changes in seconds. A policy that is implemented 1 hour ago might be reversed because of the economy indicators or factors. Okay, I'll give you an example. Throughout the world, even internationally, we understand the issue between the US and Saudi Arabia. They are friends. That way, even we know when Joe Biden went to Saudi Arabia, the greetings, whatever, we saw, wow, what a good friendship. But Saudi Arabia being a senior member in OPEC, oil producing countries, oil is the mainstay of their economy in Saudi Arabia. And US, their relationship is another factor. And when Saudi Arabia met with Russia and other countries like UAE, thank you. As OPEC countries, they had to agree that they should reduce maybe the production of oil or to US, whatever. And US took it as political. And right now we know that the relationship of Joe Biden or the Democrats and Saudi Arabia is bad. But one would wonder why they are friends. Because the oil decision is purely economical, as they are saying. Now, when it comes to Zimbabwe, the situation is not normal. Economy changes in matters of seconds. Policy, whether it's a financial...
Is that not a sign of failure?
Okay.
How do you run in business in an economy that changes in a matter of seconds? I mean, that is ludicrous.
Okay. Economy, when I say economy changes in matters of seconds, I'm not referring to the economy of Zimbabwe. I'm referring to the economy, global economy, everywhere in the world. Right now, let me, if I take about, for example, the rate of money, the rate, even let's say our Zim RTG to US dollar, it can change in hours or in minutes. If you talk of even rands, rate to US dollar, any currency in the world, when you rate it to any currency, whether it's US dollar, it changes every day. Why is it like that? Because economy changes and it's managed.
It changes based on announcement of certain policies or a big event that happened.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, there was no policy that had been announced. There was no event that had happened.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a change in a whim.
All right. Maybe you're looking at the duration of the change. But what I'm saying is policies throughout the world, monetary policy, whether it's policy about the interest rates or whatever, changes. That's why even in the US, when they do presidential debates, they differ in so many ways, in terms of taxation, in terms of immigration policy, whatever. Policy changes every time, informed by events. That's why there's no country in the world that can have a monetary policy which can last for 10 years or 20 years.
Let's talk about the future of this country.
Yeah.
What do you see?
I see we can't score 100% in whatever we wish, but Zimbabwe is in good hands, and the bad things we need to correct, to me, is the ED needs to support. I'm supporting ED because it's doing the right thing. And
define the right thing.
The right thing. All right. Unity. You introduced the show and described me as a former staunch critic. I've said a lot about ED. A lot. And here I'm sitting and I'm walking around, nobody can. I can assure you, when I say things like this, less than this, during the time of Comrade Robert Mugabe, I had even at some point the police intelligence in South Africa as my escort. In South Africa.
But you were arrested under the leadership of President Emerson Mnangagwa.
Okay. Thank you.
Struggled to get bail when the Constitution actually gives you bail as a legal right that is available to you at the first instance, unless there's proven reason that you must not get bail. You were denied bail.
Okay, thank you. I was arrested for a case, for two cases, for a case that had 2 counts. That even I sit here, I know that I committed. I insulted his office. I insulted the office of the vice president, and evidence even was there, and I got bail.
You're a political leader leading a political party, Jonasi. It is a fair game to insult other political players, is it not?
Thank you. Allow me to answer.
Can you answer that? Is it not fair game?
Okay.
Would you say that it is a crime for you to challenge your political opponent?
Okay, I'm still on the first question, assertion. I got bail on record, and here I am, and I mean, what I'm trying to say is that
it's not denied that you got bail, but yes, you had to fight for that bail to the point that you confessed just a few hours ago minutes ago, that you know, even when that bail was granted to you, you were not even in court at that particular time. You had to hear it through grapevine.
Okay, thank you.
So is that normal?
No, when there's your bail hearing in High Court,
You are not supposed to go to High Court because bail is a right that you are supposed to be granted at the magistrate's court, is it not?
Okay. In my case, I got bail when I was arrested. I spent 2 days, I think a day and a half at Central. My first appearance in court, I was granted bail. But what made me fail to be out is that because I was staying in South Africa when I committed the crime, obviously they wanted me to surrender my passport, and I didn't have the passport. So the question was, how did I enter Zimbabwe? And I had entered Zimbabwe illegally because my coming to Zimbabwe, I was coming knowing that I'm coming for radical stance and activities. So now that's what reversed my bail. Otherwise, I was supposed to be out within a matter of hours.
Is it a crime for a Zimbabwean not to have a passport?
All right,
in Zimbabwe? Because I would understand that if you are in South Africa.
Okay.
I wouldn't understand that you entered Zimbabwe illegally back to your country.
Yeah.
That is a crime on its own that you could have been charged with. Were you charged with that crime?
All right. Let me say this.
Were you charged with that crime?
Okay, allow me to say this.
Were you charged with the crime of entering Zimbabwe illegally?
Yes.
And what happened to that?
Obviously, look, obviously there was political differences in fighting, obviously. It
was a political matter.
No, I'm saying, in me committing my crime, we can't take away that I was a political person. But now, sometimes, as I say, it is a good leader.
Yes.
All that ended in me and him being brothers. Now, so now that's political tolerance, because many people were actually surprised to know that I'm in Zimbabwe. Some are still to understand it. Is he not trapping you and assassinate you or do this? But I can't live life predicting an assassination and predicting my death.
Are you joining ZANU-PF because you fear it?
A good question. I'm fearless. If you look at me, if fearlessness was a person, it's me.
After being arrested, after staying in prison.
When I was in prison, then I escaped. I went to South Africa. Where I did West, you even saw me in military in Galia doing West. Now that's a sign of someone who's not afraid.
But you can't say you're not afraid when if you want to do things, you've got to skip the border. I mean, that's the height of scared.
Okay, all right.
Why didn't you do it in the streets of Harare?
All right, okay, get my point.
Uh-huh.
I staged a one-man show when I was saying I want to arrest the leadership in Zimbabwe. I was doing it in the streets of Zimbabwe, Harare, in daylight. But the point is, there is a strategy. Bravery must not wipe out strategy. When our comrades were crossing the borders to Mozambique, would you think they were going to show the passport at the entrance, at the port of exit? You can't carry a passport while you are going to fight the government. So that it's simple as APC. I am brave and I know that. But my joining ZANU-PF has got nothing to do with my bravery or fear. It has got much to do with ideology. I told you a lot of factors that affected my decision to join ZANU-PF. If Chamisa is saying 2023 I will be the president and I'm removing ZANU-PF with elections, and on the other side the elections are being rigged. So you are giving people hope 100%, and 100% you take away the hope. It shows you that it is nothing that is happening. So I want a real thing. A real thing, we are fighting ZANU-PF to be out of power, and we should be committed to that. If we are doing mafanis, then the real thing, I am part of ZANU-PF, I'm engaging them. Right now I can access anyone in ZANU-PF and have a seat, one-on-one sitting, and I'm expressing my opinion. Because I'm not shouting, I'm not screaming. They give me an audience, they listen to me.
So you do not agree with them but you are in there so that you can engage them. Is that what you are saying?
Okay. Every Zimbabwean, whether you are political or not, every Zimbabwean has got a role to play in the administration of this country. Whether at a leadership level, as a councillor, MP, or community leadership, every Zimbabwean has got a role. So the fact that I'm Tinashe, a citizen of Zimbabwe, and you too, you are playing a big role as a journalist. You are playing a part. You are shaping opinions or destroying opinions, whatever. So I've got to play a role, but I need a platform that someone creates for me or I create for myself. So I'm doing that. Yes.
Amazing. Now, I would want to thank you very, very much, Tinashe Jonasi, for joining me here on the situation right now and giving us your views, and ways to try and for us as Zimbabweans to find each other, for us as Zimbabweans to build this nation to become a better place. And certainly on this program, we do respect people's views, we do respect people's choices and decisions and political persuasions that they feel work for them. And thank you very much for coming through in your wonderful party regalia. But as I normally do with all my guests, I would ask you to just look into the people of Zimbabwe and send a message from you, Tinashe Jonasi. What is coming from your heart? What you would want to share with them, either to do with this discussion or anything else, as long as it remains respectful.
All right. The first item, there's ED created in the media, a bad ED created by the NGOs, by US, by its allies like whatever, UK and whatever, the imperialists and the opposition and some media. That ED is bad and it must go. On the right, there's a real ED that I now witness, that now makes me proudly ZANU-PF. The ED that unifies, the ED that builds. That's why there's journalists for ED, Mawindi for ED, Maposto for ED. Even haters must be haters for ED. And also, the issue that in Zimbabwe would be good when certain people are leaders is miscalculated. Zimbabwe would be good when a certain party is in power, is miscalculated. We need to, patriotism is the love of your country, not the love of a leader or party. Zimbabwe right now is in good space, Vision 2030. It's moving for our kids, for ourselves, for our next generation. Every Zimbabwean must support, even if you don't join ZANU-PF, it's fine. You must support ED. It's the best man Zimbabwe needed. Those who support fantasy, comedian Nelson Chamisa, laugh, listen to his speeches, it's fine. Power will never be in his pocket. Forget about it. What he did direct happens, changes Zimbabwe. Chamisa is a comedian, is a speaker, you know the difference.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jonasi, and for coming through. Now, this is the situation right now, and I'm your host, Dara B. I was in conversation with Tinashe Jonasi, and we were talking about his Damascus moment joining ZANU-PF, his view and vision also for this nation, Zimbabwe. Now, this is our country. We should all, embrace each other, regardless of our political differences, regardless of the things that we might not agree with each other. Because in that diversity, in those disagreements, we find a space for what sharpens us to be a better people and to be part of the family of nations and sit on that top table and give direction as Zimbabwe and as people who matter. Now, I am your host, as usual, Dara Blessed Mhlanga, in conversation with Jonasi. Until next time, please don't forget to like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube for these discussions. We are the alternative. Everyone's voice matters. Everyone will be heard on this platform. Thank you very much.